This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Hello and welcome to Enterprising Entrepreneurs. I'm Sanjay Pinto. If you're one of those bright students passing out of a premier institution and not quite interested in that what many consider a dream job offer, spurn that offer and you want to actually follow your dream, follow your heart, you probably would do well to know more about Srinath Rajaram, who's the CEO of NP Complete. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, thank you.
Srinath, a lot of people become entrepreneurs because of the Hari Sadhu phenomenon. If you've seen that job portal ad, H for Hitler, A for arrogant, R for rascal, I for idiot, and it goes on, S for shameless. Many believe that to be an entrepreneur, the biggest perk is the absence of a boss.
Well,
was that something that spurred you? Because I know, given your growth trajectory, you spurned an offer from TCS.
That's right.
And you've worked in Motorola. You've worked in Wipro for 6 years. That was your largest stint. You didn't like a boss, is it?
Actually, I would just like to do a quick segue into a conversation that I had with my uncle much before I started. This was more like this Zen master thing that you would do. You go and ask a master what you want to do. The master asks you a question and then you give an answer. He says, no, it's a wrong answer. Go back and think a little more about it. We had this kind of, I've been wanting to be an entrepreneur somewhere from 2002. Since I saw these first internet cafes, I wanted to have my own internet cafe. So I went to this uncle of mine and asked him, see, I want to do this because he's from a business background. I wanted to make sure that we did a good job when I wanted his advice really, right? So when I asked him this question, he said, why do you want to do this? I said, I don't want to have a boss. So immediately he said, wrong answer, go and think a little more about it. Then I asked him why, why is not having a boss such, not a good enough reason to be a businessman or an entrepreneur. He says, if you are an employee, you just have one boss. But if you're an entrepreneur, you have multiple bosses. Your employees are your boss, your customer is a boss, sometimes even your vendor is a boss.
Your employees also are bosses?
Absolutely, right? That's the way we...
How is that?
Ultimately, if I was an employee at Wipro, when I was an employee at Wipro and I had a problem with an employee.
So you were Azim Premji's boss?
No, I was, well, I hope that, that's the way he must be thinking about it anyway. I think so. I think most entrepreneurs will be thinking about it like that because you tend to give in a lot more to employees, you tend to give in a lot more to their requests when you know that there is a lot more at stake in a collective sense, right? I think that feeling pervades a lot when you're talking about employees being your boss, and to some extent Wipro trained us for that. When you were talking, we had a 360-degree feedback system there, where I had to get a feedback from my employees, and that counted against my appraisal points. And I learned a little bit there about how to think of everybody as colleagues. You're just doing things together. There is no one who is superior or inferior or anything like that. The other point though is that the government is also your boss, right? So you've got to make sure that you're doing things the right way and you don't somehow get into the wrong side,
so
right?
First misconception shattered by your mentor, who's your uncle, that as an entrepreneur, it's not that you don't have a boss. Also, you have probably more work to do as an entrepreneur, although your future lies in your own hands. You have a lot more work, there's a lot more tension, there's a lot more burnout as an entrepreneur.
I think that's the second learning, right? I think
because they say that as an entrepreneur, at least the perception is that you work at your own pace.
Well, that's definitely not true. I mean,
Second misconception shattered.
absolutely,
Okay.
because you work at the pace that is set by your customers. I have a customer right here. I'll take you and have you talk to him. The pace is set by your customer. The pace is set by set by the market. It's not set by you. Okay, what you're talking about is maybe a lifestyle business, but not a business that exists to serve the society or to serve the market in general. So that is definitely not true.
Tell us about, NP Compete. What do you do exactly? What are the software apps that you've actually come up with?
Okay.
I think with all your partners, you've got about a combined experience of 60 years.
That is correct. What we do is we make sure that whatever you are doing in your computer, right? You should be able to do it ideally from your mobile or from the tablets that we are talking about these days, the iPad and the Android tablets and so on and so forth. So for example, let's say that you're a salesman on the field, right? There are a lot of people who come and talk to us about
Staff automation, which is what you...
It's staff automation, but it's a lot more. See, there are 2-3 aspects to it. You can use mobility to increase revenues. You can
So how will it is? You said you gave the example, salesman on the field. How do you boost his performance?
Now, look at the guy who's trying to sell a motor, let's say. He's trying to sell a pump. There are like 5 or 6 guys in the market. Now, he goes out there to the customer. He wants to know, when can the company give him this thing. We're talking about the lead times, right? How long is it going to take for the company to supply the part? That's a huge differentiator in a market which is very crowded. And what is the price and what is the best discount? What is the package that you can offer, right? Now, these are not decisions that the guy on the field is really equipped to make. It's the guy in the office who is equipped to make that. Okay, so he can actually tap open his. We actually did an app for a customer who was essentially trying to sell. He was trying to make quotes to farmers, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. These guys sell tractor spare parts. These guys. So when they go there to make a quote to the farmer, they made all the trip. And if they have to go back another 100 miles, we're talking about in the US or Canada where there's endless, journeys. So we're talking about these guys having to come back 200 miles to the head office and then go back again to figure out whether they can do this or not, or have a phone
So how
call.
does your product help them?
So what this product does is this guy can instantly get a quote. He can give a lead time immediately, and this guy asks him for a discount. He can make sure whether he can offer him a discount or can he offer him a package. Okay, all these decisions is done right there. A quote is printed out right there. The customer agrees on the spot. So there is no space for a competition to walk in. Okay, so that was one interesting thing that we did.
Have you tried getting your former employers as potential customers, let's say Wipro or TCS or Motorola, whom you started your career with?
Well, no, not really, because our businesses are businesses that we target.
You parted on a cordial note.
Absolutely, and in fact, I think
So
that
why not get them then as customers?
They are not really the market that
Not
we
your
are going
target
after.
audience.
They are not my
Who is
target
your
audience.
target audience?
My target audience is typically a business which is trying to reach a customer directly. So a target audience could be like, for example, I'm just saying hypothetically, Flipkart could be my target market, right? Flipkart is already having a mobile app, so you can actually buy books or CDs or whatever you want on the mobile using the Flipkart app. So that was a potential market for us. The other potential market for us could be, let us just say, an Indian social networking company. So you're talking about Reliance coming out with their own, Big Adda or whatever, right? So those kind of companies could be our target market. The other kind of target market is, of course, where people
Harvard did a study talking of social networking. There was a Harvard study conducted by a professor, revealed something shocking that even when it comes to Facebook, that the information is sold, databases are sold. How do you guard against that?
I don't know whether guard against that is the right term, because I have adopted social networking very recently. Now, there are two kinds of social network. One, you're talking about Facebook. The other is, the less talked about one is LinkedIn, right? Now,
more on the professional front.
On the professional front. Now, actually, would you believe it, when we are trying to recruit, okay, I've got an ad on Naukri, I've got an ad on Monster, and I got an ad out on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is possibly 1/5 the cost of all these other companies, and LinkedIn gives me the most highest quality resumes that you can think of, and so that's the positive side of it. Now we're talking about protecting against information. Now Facebook has really made it easier. They made a few mistakes in the beginning, but they have made it easier for people to hide information that they don't want to show. For example, if you try to reach my profile, unless you're my friend,
your privacy settings would be high.
Yes.
Talking of resumes, I mean, how many employees do you have here in the setup? You're about a year and a half old, 2 years?
We are now 2 years old.
Okay.
We started in my bedroom when there was just 3 founders with one person who was doing it full.
So laptop in the bedroom was actually the start of it?
Laptop in the bedroom, and then a room in a friend's office, and then a hole in the wall, which was an excuse for an office. That was our home for about 6 months, and then we got into this office. And I think the growth.
So what was your? Did you have seed money? Did you have angel investors? How did you start off? It must have been tough, because for most people, like somebody like you, who's an engineer from Indian Institute of Science, and then also done your program in business administration, right? From
from ISB.
So from such prestigious institutions, to actually not go in for that lucrative corporate job and to follow your heart, people would have told you that you're crazy. Why? I mean, did you burn your savings, or did you have seed capital that somebody lent you money?
Well, first of all, people told me I was crazy when I was going to ISB. So
okay,
forget that. Well, I had a job already, and I was going to pay 15 to 20 lakhs just to get another business degree.
So you have taken enormous risk in your life. You paid all that money to study further. And then again, whatever you earned, again you put it back into this, right? So you put in your savings here.
Actually, 3 of us, we put in our savings, and it's funded completely. There are 3
It's a case of 3 idiots, is it?
3 musketeers.
3 musketeers.
Not 3 idiots.
Okay.
Right?
At least the world saw you as that initially.
Yes, but then there is also this thing: stay hungry, stay foolish, right? So you can say 3 fools. I don't mind being called 3 fools, because I think to some extent that also applies to us.
But it's paid off.
Yes, absolutely. And I think.
What is the growth you've seen in the last 2 years? How much money? For those who are, since I'm not from the income tax department, you can tell me how much money have you made in the last 2 years? How much did you put into the business personally, your funds?
My funds is 0. My co-founders have put in maybe close to about $40,000. And if you really think about
it, you're talking in dollars because you had a stint in the US.
Yeah, and I think that eventually, when you're looking at a global currency, dollars is really the currency.
So $40,000 each of them?
No, that's it. That's a cumulative amount.
Okay.
And we stopped burning cash somewhere around about May.
So $40,000, I mean, do the math, is what, 20 lakh, is it?
20 lakhs,
20,
yes.
Okay.
Right, and I think we, like I said, we stopped burning cash somewhere about May 2011. So about
you broke even?
We went cash flow positive. That's even better. So
even better, okay.
Even better. So
how difficult was it to get to back clients? Who was your first client?
Our first client was, we worked a lot through intermediaries. We have done work for people who don't know we have done work for them. So for example, we've done some work for Novartis, we've done some work for Pfizer, but these are all through people who eventually sold to...
Outsourced in a sense?
Yes, it was outsourced. Unfortunately, I'm under a lot of NDAs, so I cannot talk about my customers, but we are seeing phenomenal traction in the Indian market. So, the Flipkart clones, and there are a lot of companies who are in the internet e-commerce space, as well as the India-specific social networking space. And we've got some customers who we would call the top 3 of their own segment. So, we've seen tremendous traction, and overall, I think the reason has been that we have delivered excellently. Every time when it has mattered, the team has stepped up, and they've sacrificed Saturdays and Sundays to make this happen, because that's where I say this is not just one person's dream. This is not just one person's company. This is NP Compete. It belongs to everybody. So everybody has stepped up, and
why the name NP Compete? NP
Compete is, let's say, it just talks to our geeky side. I'm a math grad, BSc Maths from Vaishnav College, and NP Complete refers to a class of very hard problems to solve, and we just thought that we would make a pun out of it. The good part of it is that customers get a little curious. We have to explain this thing to some time. That gets a lot of more face time, and people are interested.
So brand recall also, the curiosity factor
very high. It's
works.
very high.
So how, I mean, in simple money terms, your partners have put in your co-founders have put in 20 lakh rupees
That is
approximately.
right. That is right.
You've been around for 2 years.
Yes.
How much money do you actually take home now, given the risk that you've taken in your life?
At this point, I'm taking home, let me say, about 1/4 of what I would take out in the corporate market. So, somewhere around about, let's say, 10 lakhs or less than 10 lakhs a month.
So
That's
early
what
days. So
we-
you look at you're looking at sort of increasing this to how much in the next 2 years?
I think that this is not a salary game. This is a value creation game. So I'm thinking about long-term value. I'm not thinking about my salary.
You're playing for the long haul here.
We are
10
here.
years, 10
We are
years.
here. We are here to scale, and I think that I'm hoping that I would retire on this job, and in NP company.
Does an entrepreneur retire?
When he dies,
Okay, so there's no real retirement age in that sense.
I don't see Nazim Premji retiring, and I think entrepreneurs retire,
No,
but
but,
retirement is just change of work for them. That's what
Ratan
happens.
Tata is handing over the mantle. Narayana Murthy handed over the mantle.
I don't know whether Narayan Murthy has retired because he's into catamaran ventures, and he encourages a lot of entrepreneurs, and he's doing a lot of good work. So I don't know what Ratan Tata is going to do after retirement, and I'm sure that these are not people who are going to kick up their feet
Not
and
at all, yes,
relax.
not at all, yes.
These are people who are going to be working. It's just that I think, as Socrates said, right, rest is just change of work. So retirement is just change of work for these kind of people. That's what is going to eventually happen to most of us. I think our dream is to end up somewhere at some point, keep making contributions, make sure that we're making a difference in the lives of all the people that we work with on a day-to-day basis.
All right, we'll slide into a short break on enterprising entrepreneurs. If you're wondering, as what people say in college canteens, that there's too much of gyan given by Srinath, and what exactly does he do, we'll tell you more after we come back.